Oh yeah, how's everyone doing? It looks like we are live.
Oh,
We are live.
That's awesome. Welcome to the DC Asian Pacific American Film Fest, Loud, Proud, and Unbound. We are here tonight with the cast and crew from Lumpia with a Vengeance. And we're here to share our stories with a broader audience. And we also want to let you know, the audience know that there are audience awards this year, so look for that in your Survey Monkey on our website. And we also want to thank a few of our folks who have sponsored to help us be here this whole week and a half. The DC District of Columbia Mayor's Office on Asian Pacific American Islander Affairs. We also like to support our our supporters from the Eaton Workshop and AFI's Silver Films, and we are fortunate enough to have one of our brothers, Ben de Guzman, from the Mopia office here. Ben, say hi to the folks on our call today.
hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Ben de Guzman, as Marlon said. I'm the director for the Mayor's Office on Asian and Pacific Islander Affairs. So we are proud to have been a sponsor and a partner with DC APA Film Festival many years now. So it's been great. They've been such a kind of a boon for our district residents, who have been, especially this last year and a half, they've been able to provide, the film festival virtually so that our residents can still enjoy Asian American and Pacific Islander film content even while we're on lockdown. But also personally, just going way back with Patricio and seeing the movies again, this past week has just been such a reminder of that time then and now, and just seeing how times have changed. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So on behalf of my office, thank you for having me.
So again, welcome to the DC APA Film Festival and the Q&A featuring the East Coast premiere of Lumpia with Evangelist. Here for that one more time, folks.
Yeah. Sound effects.
All right, so for the next
Nice.
So for the next few minutes, we're gonna not only get a chance to introduce everyone who's on the call, but we're gonna dig deep into why we are celebrating Lumpia with a Vengeance tonight. So this is gonna be an awesome, 40 minutes, and we're gonna start off by just introducing a few of the folks who are on the call. And we're gonna start with April. April, where are you calling from? How are you doing?
Hey guys, I'm calling from Oakland. I'm doing great. It's really great to be here with you guys, and I'm looking forward to this discussion because it's always nice to hear how everyone's doing, what everyone's next projects are, and gain some new inspiration from everyone's stories. And thank you for having us, you guys.
Awesome. And what are you celebrating today? You were just talking to your folks about some of the things that just happened today.
Yeah, so I play Jackie in the new TV show called Blind Spotting. It's on the Stars app. We're 5 episodes in, and this 5th episode that comes out today is really fun because it's like a drug trip kind of episode. It's really I was just looking at the comments right now, and one person was saying profound, and it's just really exciting to be a part of something that's profound in our culture today. So yeah, I hope you guys get to check it out. We'll do a little watch party.
Yeah. Awesome. Proud of you, April.
Thank you.
Where can folks watch Blind Spotting?
So you want to download the Stars app. And you get to watch the first episode for free. And I think they have a special going on right now. I can't remember exactly what it is, but there's a promotion. And if you have international listeners, they can watch it on the Stars Play app, I believe. There's an international one too, so they can watch it there. Yeah.
Awesome. Up next is Brother Earl Balon. G-Dog, also the associate producer for Lumpia with a Vengeance. Where are you calling from, Brother Earl?
What's up, y'all? I am calling in from Los Angeles, California. I'm here doing my thing. Glad to be here to celebrate the East Coast premiere of Lumpia with a Vengeance. I'm glad to be able to talk with y'all and just say what's up to everybody, because it's always been a while. It's always been too long if we haven't been talking in more than even a day. So it's glad to be here, man.
It's true.
When was the last time you were in the room with all these fine folks?
Last time I was in the room, I saw, when we had the Bay Area premiere. I guess we were kind of in the same room. No, we were at Cup Gardens and all that stuff. So that was the last time. And what was that? About a month ago. Actually, like, touched people. It was weird.
We got to hug each other.
We got to hug each other. I was like, "You
That's
have
awesome.
a face. It's real.
You have pants. I can see below your torso."
I know. You're actually wearing pants. Like full disclosure, I'm not wearing pants right now.
All right, don't get up in the middle of the call. All right.
I know, right? There's so
Earl,
many
we're not
of
gonna
that.
touch you, Earl. Don't worry, we're not gonna touch you.
He's got the Lumpia underwear on.
So we have a couple of folks actually. We have a couple of folks calling in from Fogtown. One of them is Francis Custodio, also known as Mon Mon.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, what's up, guys? It's a pleasure. All the way from South San Francisco, what we're representing West Coast. Hey, just to be glad to be here. It's an honor. And again, I play, April's dad. And it's a pleasure. My daughter's all grown up.
Fun times, man.
Do people call you Mon Mon out in public?
No, well, actually, no one calls me that, but my actual nickname in Tagalog it's actually Ron Ron, so it's fairly close. So there's a correlation
didn't
there.
know that.
Francis Custodio, Ron Ron. Okay.
I didn't know
Man,
that.
in the Philippines, they start making up stuff, man. In the Philippines, hey, you look like you run. Look like you like to run, so we'll just call you Ron Ron. So has no meaning whatsoever.
I like that. I'm going to call
Awesome.
you
That's
that
a good.
now.
That's
I know.
Did you know that,
That's
Pat?
a good lead into
you ever
our
call?
Yeah.
next. Well, that's a good lead into our next principal on the film, Lisa Chong, also from Frogtown. Daly City plays the
Frogtown.
You think Frogtown?
Frogtown, L.A.,
Man, I almost
San
spit my
Francisco,
water
all
when
the
you said
same
that.
place.
Everybody calls
I'll
it
turn it
that.
over to Lisa.
Hey.
Hi, I am calling in from San Francisco today, and it's lovely here, and very excited to be joining you, everybody in DC. I've never been to DC, so this is my first time.
Whoop, whoop.
So,
Lisa.
and Lawrence Iriarte, where are you calling in from, Lawrence?
I'm calling from Tracy, California. Woo!
Hello.
I've been there.
Got family out there.
Where is that?
Out
You've
in the
got that.
valley.
You've got that podcast voice, dude.
Right?
Hide it.
The microphone.
He's got that quality
It's the
audio. Yeah.
It's the mega voice.
Lawrence, good to see you. And then from Virginia Beach, what? An East Coaster. Dante Fernandez, who helped do the stunts and artists,
Hey guys.
artwork for the comic book and the film. Welcome, Dante.
Thank you for having me. And also so proud to represent the East Coast, also
That's
West
right.
Coast, calling in from Los Angeles right now. But VA, how's it?
Yay.
Nice.
Awesome. And last but not least, Patricio, we met like a lot of y'all met many moons ago during one of his first projects, 1998, 1999, Patricio, right?
Yeah, 2000, 2002.
Even before it wrapped it up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that was for the
Yeah.
debut, traveling around.
And
Yeah,
staying
so-
at people's places, people that he didn't even know.
I'm trying to get used to the delay, but yeah, no, yeah, Marlon was very gracious in letting me crash at his pad, and I got to dog sit, Chance, and it was pretty. I mean, and then that's where I reconnected with everyone in the Washington D.C. area, met Ben, and just a lot of folks, and Rodney Salinas. I mean, there's all these names that come back.
That's
But
right.
the thing about it feels like yesterday, right? So it's great to be back this time with a film that I directed and now showing in the East Coast. So it's a blessing and pretty cool to be back here and reconnecting with you all. So thank you for having us.
All right, so we'll start this Q&A with a softball question for Patricio. Patricio, since we got you rolling here, what is for folks who don't know, what is the origin story for Lumpia with a Vengeance?
So Lumpia with a Vengeance started out as a kind of a neighborhood project in Daly City. You know, I was making movies already with my neighbors, you know, as kids and youth. And so the first Lumpia film was kind of like a reunion movie. Since I was going to USC Film School at the time, I thought, oh, I'm a better filmmaker now. So we got back the gang together and wrote a story about this Lumpia eating, Tagalog barong wearing avenger. And it was actually based on we were such fans of this movie called El Mariachi, you know, from Robert Rodriguez. My brother Dar, we saw that and we were thinking, okay, what's the Filipino version of this hero? And the Filipino version, the best thing we could think of was exactly that. The guy eats lumpia or fights with lumpia and does martial arts. And so it started out as such a wacky film, comic book film, but then, and we actually, we're finishing that up while I was on tour with the debut when I met you, Marlon. So because of that whole what we were experiencing with the debut phenomenon and seeing all these audiences coming out for that Filipino American film, it motivated myself and I met AJ to continue finishing that movie. And we finished the first Lumpia movie in 2003. And so even though it was a homemade movie that, you know, gained a cult following of its own, we released it. And then to celebrate 10 years, we crowdfunded the sequel. And lo and behold, here we are, 7-8 years later now, now premiering on our film festival tour.
Awesome. So, the last year or so has been difficult, not only for, our community, but for everyone. And then we've also, the Asian American community over the last, few months have been blow after blow around anti-Asian sentiment. And this question for the, producers of the film, even the supporters, right? Like, why at this time and age, why does Lumpia with a Vengeance, why does this film make sense for our community right now?
Well, I'm in the news, and so I'm exposed to these really hideous images and videos every day. All of this crime against the AAPI community, and it hurts, and it's heartbreaking, and we're all struggling. And I think with a film like Lumpia, we're putting ourselves out there, and we're trying to put our we're putting our faces out there, and we're letting people know that we're really just like everybody else. We have gifts and we have flaws, and we're not perfect. And I think that it's empathy that we really need right now. And I think that putting ourselves out there and putting our stories out there is important in just building that empathy among cultures right now.
No, absolutely. That's so important. Lawrence, anyone else want to chime in on that?
Yeah. I mean, in the past, we Asians and just in general have just been in the background, and then more than anything, for us to come into the news with what's been going on, and finally, with this film and many other films that have been coming out in the Asian community, is to put a face to it. We're not simply background players. We're not, we have a lot to offer, and I'm very proud of this film. I've been, I say it a lot that we do the fantastic, and people say, why can we do this, or why are we doing this in this film? And my answer is always just why not? You know, we're just like Lisa said, just to echo Lisa, we have just as much to offer as any other community, you know, as people, as artists, you know, as talents, and there's a lot of heart, you know, just like any other community, there's heart, and there's a lot to offer, and more than anything, like I said, we have a face now. We're offering our face out there.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's pretty incredible from top to bottom in this film, Patricio. Right? We have every role. You know, the principal actors, actresses, the folks in the crowd. Everyone is, you know, like Filipino or Asian, and it's pretty incredible. Even like the Filipinos, you get a diverse representation of even like, you know, you've got I want to say it leans towards the husky men's in the film, right? Brother Mark, the superhero, big dude. So you've got a pretty good representation of all the Filipinos you see in the community, right? It's all in this one film.
Yep.
I mean, it was important for us to have that Filipino American superhero, because how often do you not see not only a hero portrayed as Phil Lam, but you know, you also have a female hero that, you know, April plays Rachel so well, ends up being, and it was important for us to capture, for us, what my hometown was, Daly City. You know, it's rare to be unabashedly Filipino in cinema, and so we didn't feel we needed to explain anything about us. And if people want to learn more about our culture and what Daly City in particular was about, I'm sure they would go research it. So it was important for us to create a fun film, but it was also authentically Filipino American, you know, as specific to Daly City.
Yeah. No, absolutely. April, can you speak about that as a young and up-and-coming actress in Hollywood, doing it up right now? Can you speak about your role as Rachel, as a lead character in this film?
Sure, yeah. You know, I feel like this also kind of ties into what you guys were just talking about. I know there's a lot of bullying, you know, happening in a lot of different communities towards other communities, including our own. And, you know, this movie targets that. I also kind of wanted to recognize that we have made a lot of progress too, you know, because right now I'm watching Star Trek and I was like, oh, cool. Sulu's there and he's an Asian guy, and he was the only Asian guy in this predominantly Caucasian cast. And there was one Black woman in the cast too. You know, and that was made, almost 40 years ago. And now we're looking at Asian American Pacific Islander film festivals, where now you're having a huge lineup of all of these different films where it's predominantly our community in the film. So there's so much progress that has been made, and so to be also to be a lead female who is Asian American Pacific Islander is so, I don't take that lightly. I think that this role, it's not just that I played it, but it's a role that needed to be there, not necessarily for me to play, but just a role that needed to be there for like the community and for people who need to learn more about us. You know, and representation matters because it's like we have so much to learn from each other. And that's kind of how I approached Rachel with this film, was like, how do I show the human behind this this framework that people like to put someone like me in, like a petite Asian Pacific Islander girl, woman. You know, people like to put labels on that, and they like to think that you're sweet, and they like to think that you're submissive, and they like to think that you're polite and that you're not going to cause any problems. But, you know, like, that's why what we're doing is really exciting because we get to show that we're so much more than the limitations that people put on us, and art's supposed to challenge that for all communities, which is great. So
No, absolutely. But I gotta say, like, Rachel, out of all the characters, Rachel was like the most normal one. Am I wrong on that?
I tried to be normal.
I mean, like, everyone had like everyone had a crazy streak. It's like, man, Rachel was like the only one who wasn't.
So for next film, we'll remember that. Just,
Everyone has to be normal next
normal.
time. No.
Right.
More crazy for next picture.
no.
No, you didn't keep that even keel. Nah, that was awesome.
It's funny.
So Lumpia Man, or Kuya, right? He's an awesome character, probably the first archetype of that in Filipino American cinema, right? So what were the influences for that superhero or the comic book flavor in this film for both the character and the film?
Well, I mean, I didn't really mean to be the first. I think there's a lot to be the first Filipino superhero. I think a lot of it was, when you think about just superhero characters in general, they always take this kind of a silly concept and make it look cool, right? So, a guy dressed up like a bat. Oh, sounds silly, but we'll make it look cool. Oh, a guy dressed up like a spider. So why not a guy who throws lumpia and make that his icon? And so a lot of that, even though we started out for fun, was to justify that superhero, but it was also a way for us to combat bullying. The reason why we chose Mark Munoz in general was because he has an anti-bullying campaign, and myself and Mark really connected on our experiences because we were both bullied as youth. And so, we, in a way, we connected it with the character, and he actually helped me even kind of expand on this character for Lumpia with a Vengeance. So, I mean, the powers that, without spoiling with Kuya, it's kind of crazy because we put all kinds of, subtitle talking and just all these weird things elements that we put into it. And we're just trying to justify it. Hopefully in the end, people are just having a good time, and hopefully our themes come out, this weird crab mentality, anti-bullying. I mean, we try to put all these ingredients into this this film.
Yeah, Patricio, that's what really struck
awesome.
me, right? Is that there's so much going on. I mean, it's the superhero thing, it's the bullying thing, which is unfortunately, like we're saying before, it has a new resonance now in this time. But like, there's the whole thing about, whether Rachel was a mistake. Like, I wanted to chime in before, Rachel. When you were talking, there's, and some of it's absurd and some of it is really serious. And I mean, to me, I feel like that's what there's a strong strain in Filipino culture of like not taking ourselves too seriously. I mean, maybe that's just me, but there's been a lot, and it's it requires like you dance a lot of different lines, and I don't know what your thought is about how you've tried to balance all of that.
Yeah, I mean, the balance is always crazy because we're also trying to keep it fun, and I'm trying to tap in back into my 16-year-old self writing the first one, right? I was trying to keep true to that spirit. But I think what makes the movie really resonate is that these characters are authentic. I think life can be like that, right? Life can throw you a lot of curveballs and just different things. And I think even as a culture, we're so different. Like Marlon was saying, that we just the different facets, and just like all of us comes in all different shapes and sizes, different religions, different languages. And I think a lot of it is always hard to pigeonhole, like what exactly is a Filipino or what exactly is a Filipino American. But all of this really was just trying to portray us as just like anyone else. I think that was the challenge, right? Trying to come up with a balance that look, we have not only a Phil-Am as a hero, but we also have Filipinos as a villain, right. And they can fall in love, they can be betrayed, they can dance.
They're also bullies.
They're bullies,
right?
Elected officials. We could be all of that. We could be all of that. G Dog, I recently started following you on Facebook and noticed that you don't like people who spoil movies. So
I talk a lot of mess on
It seems like you were kind of angry, but for everyone who hasn't seen Lumpia with a Vengeance yet, what do you want them to know about the film without spoiling any of it?
I in general, I want everybody to know that it is a fun film. In general, at the end of the day, we're here to make something that entertains people. And we want you to laugh, and we want you to feel good about it. But that doesn't mean that it's devoid of like any heart or any kind of statement, because there is. If you take a look at it, like at the very deepest levels, it kind of it exposes a lot about Filipino culture, and in a way that I think is very digestible to a wide range of people. So I'm hoping that, despite the fact that it is an action comedy, and that it's a popcorn film at the end of the day, that people will be savvy enough, and I know people will be savvy enough to pick out the fact that we're making a statement about certain things in the Filipino community and how it fits into the greater community as a whole, right?
If I could chime in on this, quickly, what I love about our film, and I'm very, very proud about, is that you could watch this film and you could find your family. You could find your family members in this movie. I mean, I found, especially the scenes with the in-laws, the different in-laws, it's been like my favorite at the dinner table, and just like how authentic that is. And just one of the things that's in the script that both Pat and Earl and Justin have actually put in was some real moments that are at the dinner table, which I love, because when I'm hearing when you hear the stuff that's in there, it's like, it's so genuine that I hear it from my aunts and my uncles. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what I went through. That's the expectations that are put on us, from the elders, and, as role models, and your identity of like what you're trying to find and what you expect for yourself. So it's very real. I mean, as fantastic as that it is, a crime fighting Lumpia throwing avenger, it's very real and very grounded with the actual members of the families that you'll see there. And I challenge anybody to say, go ahead, you'll find your cousins, your aunts, your uncles in this film.
Trying so hard not to spoil line.
Yeah.
That was so hard.
Did anyone in like the table scenes that wanted to pass, like who's Abe Pagdama's character? Who's his character's name?
It was Pedro. It was Munmun's dad playing.
Munmun's dad. Did anyone want to pass him a napkin? Every time I see
that was my favorite part.
No.
I love that part too.
That's
he was using his arm. He was using his arm to wipe his mouth.
More food.
That is great.
It didn't work.
Well, that was a challenge, because Earl was also part of the writing room. Like, before he was casted, like me and Earl, that was the whole challenge to try to come up with this movie. We would like throw ideas and jokes, and I don't remember, Earl, we were trying to say, how do we make it more funny? I need more jokes, and we kept rewriting scenes over and over again.
Oh yeah, so much rewriting, a lot of stuff actually cut out from many drafts. So
how many drafts were there?
Oh man, I should kind of got the minute here. I mean, remember, we didn't shoot until like 4 years after we crowdfunded it, and
that's
so
right.
I think, and the thing is, what we're so mindful is that we were scared that some of these jokes would go stale because we were taking so long. Like, so the jokes still had to be funny to us 2 years after we wrote it and before we went to production, and even then in post production, we were still changing things up and even adding jokes in post. That wasn't even on the script. So. Yeah,
it definitely ages well. And speaking of good editing, hey, shout out to AJ who's in the
yes.
Hey,
who's in the audience.
Hi, AJ.
Hey, Joey.
Hey.
Oh man.
Hey, Jay.
So we're here in DC for the DC Film Festival, and I don't know how much of our viewing audience here in DC is familiar with the other DC, Daly City. But like I see like Daly City as like sort of the sixth man in this movie, right? It's like the NBA finals are going on, DC, like there's quite a bit of panning shots. Lisa or any of y'all talk about how like the role of like Daly City is in this film, or 1-1, because there's some really like even some of the shots that early in the film are in DC, like the drive-in one and the van. Those are really cool. Can y'all speak to like the role of DC has in this film?
Oh, I think it's so awesome that right now people in DC on the East Coast are seeing Daly City on their screens. It's not just us. I mean, like people across the country are seeing, the Ling Nam restaurant sign and all that stuff.
The
it's
library.
pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing to see it, and it gives our community here so much pride. It was fun dealing with the city of Daly City. They were very supportive and behind us 100%. They loved this film.
And I think and Daly City, I mean, I think the movie will literally put the city on the map. Many people, when they talk about Daly City from the East Coast, no one knows about Daly City. They think it's just it's literally like a drive-through to San Francisco. So the movie being, the city being in the movie, brings a big representation. And just like Lisa was saying, we got so much support from, all the residents of Daly City, and we got so much love, and, they took a lot of pride, and a lot of them, really wanted to be in it, or they were in it. So it was just a big family gathering making this movie in Daly City.
Say the joke, Francis. Why is it so foggy in Daly City? Say the joke, Francis. Why? Why is it so foggy in Daly City?
It's because all of the rice cookers are cooking all at the same time.
Oh, but also shout out to Jocelyn Manalo.
That's a lot of rice cookers.
Yes.
Jocelyn Manalo.
All of them.
Daly City
Mayor.
She's in the film. Did you see her in the film?
Don't think I did.
Yeah.
I see you. Jocelyn. I actually have a question. There was the one bar scene. It's like the bar that's like hella far south. It's kind of very dark. I think only one scene was there. Like Jane Gonzalez took me there one night. I was visiting. I go to the Bay Area for homecoming every October, and he took me down there. Which bar was that again? Like it was Filipino owned for a long time, and it's been around since like the early
7 Mile.
That's a 7 Mile House.
I think that's right.
Brisbane.
Yeah. I saw that, and there's all these little things like I put in the Ling Nam, and but those little things like if and you've been there, you're like, oh snap, it's So thank you.
We don't want to scare anyone who hasn't been to Daly City. They're scared they're going to get attacked by Lumpia. That's not real. So, but do come down, check out Daly City, go to Saramonte for sure. Just introduce, get a feel of what the Philam culture is in Daly City.
I did think it was funny that the day that we were filming in City Hall, it was all exterior shots, and we were really expecting that cloud, the fog to be rolling in, and it was the sunniest, hottest day in Daly City. The history
the whole shoot was like that. It's the whole
crazy.
I remember that. I remember that. But all the other days were so gloomy. Like the whole year is just gloomy and cloudy. Like you're in Portland or something, and then that one day that we needed the fog was the one day it wasn't around.
The weather was like, no, hell no.
Yeah.
we weren't able to negotiate a good deal with the weather, so it's just totally screwed us over.
They were like, not in my town.
Speaking of which, with all the heat, Melissa, one of our movie directors for this film festival, has a question. How do y'all keep the Lumpia crispy in the movie?
That's for you.
There's a lot of Lumpia. I stopped counting after 24.
We had a Lumpia handler, believe it or not. We actually had a few Lumpia handlers, and some of it was fried on the spot. So we literally had there were times when they were eating it right out of the fryer. So. And we had to keep the crew. We had to keep the crew and the rest of the cast away from the lumpias because we had specifically a certain amount to eat for the camera.
So was there like a lumpia production crew?
Yeah, there was. Actually, we did. AJ wound up wrangling a lumpia expert, and so they fried it and they made it specifically for the camera.
Yeah, there were different kinds of lumpia, right?
Yeah.
Ones that had to be eaten, so it had to be really, it had to be edible, right? And then there were ones we could throw around, and that was a fake prop. We had a fake prop I bought on eBay.
Throwing Lumpia.
And I don't have it with me. But then there was the CG Lumpia, which was of course all in AJ's post production and our talented visual effects artist that did that. So
we had all kinds.
Hey, Dante,
and that was crispy.
Was
The visual effects was crispy.
Dante, did you ever get hit?
Right.
With
Did you ever get hit
Lumpia,
by the Lumpia, Dante?
I think I got hit a couple times. Yeah,
He was
they're still kind of.
Did it hurt?
They're still kind of. It was like a
The prop
burn
Lumpia,
Did
we
you
never
bleed?
wasted it. Really
Burn
good.
scar, yeah.
Oh.
Got that fry
At the top of the
oil.
movie, Dante gets like, he's like one of the first to get Lumpia'd.
Yes.
Lumpia.
Yeah, he was part of our test shoot. Yeah.
Get
Wait, Dante,
Olympia.
did you ever
Well,
get hit
Manhattan,
by a
we're
real
not
Lumpia
coming
or
soon.
prop?
I don't want
I
to
think it was
spoil
prop.
Manhattan. I know Cicero here says he wanted to see the film in Manhattan. That might be coming soon, maybe.
What?
Maybe. Waiting. We're just waiting.
All right. So,
Yeah,
just
that's it. Are you gonna be
to our-
coming? Are you gonna be coming? We hope to
Excellent.
see you there.
I'll do a quick shout out to the folks who are watching on Facebook Live. If you're watching with us and you've been with us, we are taking questions in the chat. So throw them down. We'll throw them back up here. We'll throw it out to the cast and crew of Lumpia with a Vengeance. Speaking of Lumpia being thrown, Dante, can you talk a little bit about, because this is an action film, right? This is a straight up action film. It is action packed from top to bottom. Can you talk about some of the, how folks like Rachel and Earl did with the stunts and Mon did with their stunts? What was that? What was that like with all the action going on?
It was actually pretty fun because the stunt coordinator Mark Elefane was out for a day, so they called me in to help out. And sure enough, I was amazed by like how talented everyone was performing at the time. So I didn't have to do anything actually, and it just brings you back. As an action film, you don't really see a lot of. Well, growing up, I never saw a lot of like Filipino action heroes. Except one,
Yeah,
I think
right.
you remember Ernie Reyes Jr.
Hell yeah.
But, yeah.
Sidekicks.
So like, I remember just watching him on film, and then just going outside and running around with sticks, beating on trees or whatever, and just performing my own stunts, just based off of that. And then now we're here watching this film with a full Filipino American cast, teaching them. Or them showing off their action moves. I don't know. It's just surreal to me just to be part of this. So
No,
I
absolutely.
think everyone.
I mean,
everyone
for
did a
folks
great job.
And for folks who don't know, like the main character Kuya is an actual like MMA artist. Like this guy is like the real deal. Y'all don't know. Now you
The
know.
realist.
Mark Munoz really wanted everybody to hit him. He was just like, I can take it. I can take it. And I was just like, okay. Just
I
hit him.
remember that during the
He's
test
not
shoot.
used to
My job
faking.
easy.
He's not used to faking it. It's like it's crazy.
He really threw that stuff too. Remember, Pat and I were like, he says, I could throw it. I could throw it. Like, you want me to hit it? I can hit it. And he actually threw.
Yeah, in
Remember?
the scene with Danny Trejo, the scene where they actually, when they throw at each other, the actual Olympia and Taquito actually hit each other on the first take.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like, and I was like, Mark, you weren't wrong. And like Danny, that's why Danny, he's an icon because he can actually, on the like a bullseye. It's crazy.
He's got good throwing
my
for
first day
him.
of my first day of filming is with Mark Munoz, and I think our scene was, he was supposed to push me, and man, this guy was just throwing me all over. Like every scene seems to get harder and harder. And I turned around to Patricio and I said, "Hey, is he angry at me? What the hell is going on? Why is he pushing me harder?"
Yeah, and I was wondering how come he's asking for more takes, Francis? He's like, why is Mark saying, "Hey, can I get another take?"
Why is he messing up? Why he just has to push me? Why is he?
I think he just outweighs
in
you
reality,
by like 100
man.
pounds, dude.
Oh my god.
I know,
Yeah, I
right?
know. It's supposed to be the other way around, Francis. You're
but-
supposed to initiate him because you're the veteran actor, and then it's like he's
man.
initiating you.
Oh, it's
Welcome to my
funny.
Yeah,
world.
no, man. He's a beast, dude. But in reality, I mean, Mark Munoz is like the biggest teddy bear I've ever met. I mean, he looks
So
pretty
sweet.
intimidating, but we had.
Well, that's
some
why
good
you kept
times just
hugging
talking.
him. No wonder you kept hugging him, Francis.
I
No,
mean,
that's
he did
a
like
spoiler.
to
It
see me
smelled like
like
pool water.
That's a
That wasn't part of the
That's
script,
a hug.
Patricio. That wasn't part of the script. All the hugs.
And that was in the trailer. It's not a spoiler because it's in the trailer. The hug is there.
Oh, right. True.
I actually remember
Yeah.
Dante during the test shoot. Y'all were talking in between takes and stuff, and you were commenting on how heavy his hands were.
Oh,
when
yeah.
y'all were,
Dude, it's like
you
a
know,
tree trunk, man.
His hands?
when you you do choreo and you block somebody's hand, you can feel the weight.
Yeah.
So his punches were for real loaded and heavy.
You're like, wait. You're like in the middle of a take, and he's supposed to punch you, and you're just like, oh my god, no! I know you're not gonna hit me, but he never hits me in the movie. I just want to put that out there.
Wait,
That's never in the script
Nobody hits
either.
anybody.
right?
Is that true? Nobody ever hits.
Yeah,
So I have to
that's
say
fine.
something really, really sad. It is we're almost getting close to the end, and so I want to make sure that we could do a real quick round robin. I know, right?
That went
We'll
so
kind of keep it going,
fast.
but we'll tell folks 45 minutes. So given that we're still, this is the East Coast premiere. There's still a lot of incredible movies left to see in our film, including Lumpia with a Vengeance. What can folks expect more out of this crew in particular, and also the film? What is there a sequel? What are some, for folks who are hungry for more Filipino American cinema, what can we expect more out of you all?
Well, definitely you gotta share the movie first because we're still trying to get it to wider
Absolutely.
audiences. And in the meantime, we've been very fortunate enough to do the comic book kind of spinoff of our movie. So instead of a movie being based on a comic book, we've been able to make a comic based on the movie. And so we've been able to do the prelude, the story that bridges the gap between Lumpia 1 and Lumpia with a Vengeance. And we just finished issue 2, our interlude. So if you love the movie and want to know what happened off screen while the movie was happening, issue 2 is our interlude, and we're in the hopes of launching our final issue, the third issue, which is our epilogue and postludes very soon. So the comic books are actually given us kind of a new life in terms of just continuing the story.
Yeah.
Because there are some folks out there like it, and then hopefully, look, if there's a demand and an appetite for a third film, we got a story for that too. But we just want to make sure that this film finds the audience that it needs to. Hopefully we can continue this. But so far so good.
No, absolutely. Lawrence, Lisa, you want to chime in on that question too? What can we expect next from you all?
Definitely, as we push from city to city, you're hopefully see more artwork, more artwork from the artists. I have to say I'm very proud of the artist, Dante and one of the writers, Earl, just working off of the imagery and as the world, the Lumpia verse that we've created, and just to deliver our heroes and our characters, like I said, in lights that we don't expect. So it's as much as I can reveal right now. I'm looking forward to the opportunity of exploring, showing more of those characters in the future, especially on my drawing board right now. So
Absolutely.
You're so careful with your words, Lawrence.
yes, I am.
Excellent. Excellent.
Action figures coming out. I don't know. That really depends. We did the comic book. We'd love to do the action figure.
That's right.
Yes, please.
Look, we were lucky that we didn't know our assistant stunt coordinator Dante was also an artist. We didn't know, Lawrence, I always knew he was an artist. So we were able to even use the same crew to actually make the comic book. So I'm just waiting for someone in our crew to say, "Hey, I make toys too. Let's do a Lumpia with Adventures action figure." But that's how it works. We're very in a community. We were crowdfunded by the community. We were made by the community, and now we're hoping that more of the community comes out and support us and watch it. So a lot of this is only continuing because even though we're an independent film, we're very dependent on the folks like you and our supporters and our Lumpia lovers.
This is
It
the
will
most
take a video
popular topic of the thread, y'all.
I know.
Action figures.
Action figures.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine what my life would have been like if I had like husky Filipino men action figures growing up.
Hasbro,
Right.
Funko, give us a call.
Yeah.
Come on, Hasbro.
Oh.
Hasbro.
Couple heads.
Let's do it, Lawrence. Let's talk, man. I'm gonna text you after this. All right. So, oh my God, thank you all, Lawrence, Earl, Dante, Ben, April, Francis, Lisa. Thank you all for joining us today. Armando for helping us out. Check out our festival schedule for additional live Q&As. Audience participation is required. Vote early, vote often, and don't forget the closing night is in-person screening of The Girl Who Left Home at the AFI Silver Theater in Silver Spring. Please do not forget, if you haven't yet, we're going to send Kuya out after you if you haven't watched Lumpia with a Vengeance. All right? So, having said that, good night, everyone. Lumpia with a Vengeance!
Thank you. Thank you.